Imagine boarding a modern cruise ship, a floating city carrying thousands of passengers across the ocean. You probably never think about lifeboats. But if disaster struck today, there would be enough lifeboat space for everyone on board. That might sound obvious. But over a century ago, it wasn't. In 1912, the world's most famous ship sank into the freezing Atlantic Ocean. More than 1,500 people lost their lives. And one shocking reason was that the Titanic simply didn't carry enough lifeboats. The tragedy shocked the world and forced governments to rewrite the rules of maritime safety forever. This is the story of how the Titanic changed every cruise ship that sails today. When Titanic set sail from Southampton on April 10, 1912, she was the largest passenger ship ever built. Stretching nearly 900 feet long, Titanic was a symbol of modern engineering and luxury. Many newspapers called her practically unsinkable. The ship could carry over 3,300 people, including passengers and crew. Yet, despite her enormous size, Titanic carried only 20 lifeboats. Those lifeboats had room for about 178 people. That meant more than half the people on board had no place in a lifeboat if disaster struck. Today, this sounds unbelievable. But at the time, Titanic technically met all legal requirements. The regulations were outdated and based on ship-size categories created years before giant ocean liners like Titanic existed. The law simply hadn't kept up with technology. No one imagined a ship this large could actually sink. On the night of April 14, 1912, Titanic struck an iceberg in the North Atlantic. At first, many passengers didn't realize the danger. The collision felt minor. But below the waterline, the iceberg had torn open multiple compartments. Water began flooding into the ship. As the situation worsened, the crew started uncovering the lifeboats. A terrible reality quickly became clear. There weren't enough seats. Women and children were loaded first. Families were separated. Many lifeboats left only partially full because officers feared lowering overloaded boats. Meanwhile, hundreds of passengers remained trapped aboard. At 2:20 in the morning, Titanic disappeared beneath the ocean. More than 1,500 people died. It remains one of the deadliest peacetime maritime disasters in history. Around the world, people asked a simple question: how could this have happened? Investigations began almost immediately. Both American and British inquiries examined every detail of the disaster. The findings were devastating. The ship lacked enough lifeboat capacity. Emergency procedures were inadequate. Crew training was limited. The disaster revealed that many maritime safety rules were dangerously outdated. Safety standards had to evolve too. In 1914, representatives from major maritime nations met in London. Their goal was simple: make sure a disaster like Titanic never happened again. The result was the first International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea, known today as SOLAS. SOLAS became one of the most important maritime safety agreements ever created. For the first time, ships were required to carry enough lifeboats and life-saving equipment for everyone on board. Not just some passengers, everyone. The convention also introduced improved emergency procedures, safety drills, and communication requirements. Another major change followed. The International Ice Patrol was created to monitor icebergs in the North Atlantic. Its mission continues to this day. Every iceberg threat is tracked and reported to ships crossing those waters. Today, cruise ships are dramatically safer than they were in 1912. Before a ship can leave port, passengers must attend safety drills. Modern vessels carry lifeboats, life rafts, life jackets, emergency beacons, and advanced communication systems. Satellite technology allows ships to stay connected around the clock. Weather forecasting is more accurate than ever. The lessons learned from Titanic are embedded into every aspect of modern maritime safety. They're there, quietly protecting lives. More than a century has passed since Titanic sank. The disaster claimed over 1,500 lives, but it also transformed maritime safety forever. The Titanic is often remembered as a story of tragedy, but its legacy is also one of change. And every time a modern cruise ship sails safely across the ocean, the legacy of Titanic sails with it.